All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kwakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders. Great millstone, salutation to the Akim pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Yeah, man. It's coming to the head, man. This the main reason why, because Turkey is a very strategic place for the Americans because they can launch all of their missions into the Middle East from Turkey. And Turkey now is dissing, they're shunning America because America is its partner, but assumedly supposed to be his ally. But now they're putting sanctions on them. Anyway, let's go into it.
The recent diplomatic feud between Ankara and Washington over Turkey's detainment of a U.S. pastor endangers both nations' interests in Syria, where allies Iran and Russia could benefit from further coalition collapse, according to one expert source. The spat between the U.S. and Turkey has resulted in a plummeting lira and a souring of relations between the NATO allies. But both President Donald Trump and President Recep Tayyip Erdogan are adversaries of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, a Ba'athist leader whom both countries attempted to topple in the wake of a 2011 rebel uprising. While Turkey has engaged in peace talks with Assad sponsors Russia and Iran, the U.S. military has regularly underscored the vitality of Turkish cooperation in Syria. And the Pentagon has denied support for Kurdish fighters battling Turkey. However, Mr. Trump has threatened and ultimately imposed a wave of punitive economic measures on Ankara. Joshua.
And that's prophecy, man. Iran, Turkey, and Russia, the alliance. So, man, this Bible's on point, man. The Most High is not a man that he should lie. You know what I mean? It's us mortal men that are full of lies, man.
Landis, who heads the University of Oklahoma's Center for Middle East Studies and the online blog Syria Comment, told Newsweek, it appears there are two contradictory things going on in U.S. foreign policy. One being driven by the White House for domestic reasons and one driven by the Department of Defense for strategic reasons. The U.S. sanctions were imposed in response to the arrest and confinement of American evangelical pastor Andrew Brunson.
And let me say something about that so-called evangelical pastor. He's not no evangelical. That's his cover. He's a CIA plant. He's an operative. Okay? That's how the cracker works, man. You know what I mean? Comes under a guise of either what do you call that? Them people UN peacekeeping or whatever. You know what I mean? He's a CIA plant, man.
Mr. Brunson stands accused of conspiring with banned groups in Turkey to oust Mr. Erdogan in the failed 2016 coup d'etat attempt.
And that's what his job was. Okay, to bring confusion and to set up infighting. That's what they do. Okay.
The Usborne pastor, who has resided in Turkey for more than 2 decades, is facing espionage and terrorism charges.
And why would a pastor be involved with that? And he's supposed to be a man of God, doing godly things, yeah, teaching the world about Jesus.
Brunson has denied the accusations. Turkey's forces stormed northern Syria in 2016 in a bid to help its local allies push back the Syrian Democratic Forces, aligned People's Protection Units. After a second invasion earlier this year, they managed to end Kurdish control over the northwestern district of Afrin in March. The U.S. did not intervene in the dispute, despite styling itself as an ally of both Turkey and the Syrian Democratic Forces. About a week later, Trump took to social media to warn of large sanctions on Turkey for their longtime detainment of Pastor Andrew Brunson. Ankara's defiant response came soon after, with the Turkish Foreign Ministry cautioning on August 10 that the US cannot get any results through such kind of sanctions and pressures, and that these will only harm our alliance, which was forged by hardest challenges and promising a befitting response. In a fiery rebuke to the US-imposed sanctions, Mr. Erdogan said, "You act on one side as a strategic partner, but on the other, you fire bullets into the foot of your strategic partner. We are together in NATO and then you seek to stab your strategic partner in the back." Syria is already starting to capitalize on the ongoing feud, with its military sending large numbers of reinforcements to retake the final rebel-held province, Idlib, where Turkish troops are posted to enforce a ceasefire reached last year by Turkey, Russia, and Iran. With only Russian troops standing between the Syrian military and a much smaller contingent of Turkish forces, Erdogan may be forced to seek a new deal with Moscow. Mr. Landis said, "Normally, Turkey would look to the US for support in dealing with Russia and Syria. The US is a NATO partner. Just as the US and Turkey's relationship is spiraling out of control, Erdogan is looking to the US, and the US is not going to help him. So he is going to go to Russia, and Russia is really in the driver's seat." He added, "We don't know how it's going to come out yet, but America is nowhere to be seen, and that's odd. It shows that America is not making the most of its diplomacy and is sort of shooting itself in the foot."
There you go. There she blows. See what I mean?
Thanks for watching.
So everybody
Please subscribe
in
Daily
that union,
News channel.
that
Goodbye and see you
European Union,
again.
is showing you that America's allies are going to turn against them, man. So prophetically, the Most High is putting the chess pieces in place, man. So that's a beautiful thing, man. With this is showing us that we're nearly out of here, man. You don't really see this in the main news. You got to go into alternative news for this, and that's why the so-called crackers trying to shut down this alternative news. Anyway, that's a beautiful thing. Like I say, all praises to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Kwakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth through the spirit of a Mashiach. Salutation to the Akim and Kwam Yasharallah, man. Beautiful. Right, Ezekiel 38:1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all these bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all their bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, be prepared for thyself, thou, and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Yeah, that's all these coalitions being formed, and Russia, Iran, now Turkey, because Turkey wanted to be a part of NATO at one stage, and now they're switching sides, man, because the Mosai is putting it in their spirit, man, bringing them forth for that day, man. After many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and I will gather out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Okay, so basically this is what we're in, prophesying now, man. We're in the time. The Lord is not a man he should lie, man. So let's get ready, man. Keep this word coming out. Right, this is an article. It's called Exploring the Word. Okay, who are Gog, Magog, Tarshish, and other nations of Ezekiel 38? So this is by Dylan Burrows, some cracker probably, with a name like that, Dylan Burrows. The growing unrest in the Middle East has caused many to wonder if the Bible speaks of a future time when the nations of this era will turn to catastrophic war. Ezekiel does indeed speak of such a future time when many lands from the area will come together in a war against the nation of Israel. Who are these nations? All right. Gog, Magog, Meshach, and Tubal. Let's look at the specific verses mentioned in the nation. Mention the nation that will align against Israel. I just read that, yeah? Bucklers 38-6, yeah? Who are these nations? Gog, Rosh in some translations. The land of the Black Sea. This is a reference to modern Russia, or at least parts of it in this area north of the Black Sea. Magog. Magog was an ancient land in Scythians. The land is now we call Asia. That possibly includes parts of all Afghanistan. Meshach, located in modern Turkey. Okay. Tubal, located in modern Turkey. Persia, the ancient land of Persia is located in modern Iran. In fact, Iran was called Persia up until 1935, less than 100 years ago. Kush, also, Ethiopia, also Kush. See, they know they're the Kushites. Not modern Ethiopia, but now as an area known as Sudan. Yeah, because all of them, Eritrea, Sudan, and Ethiopia, they're all the same people. North of Sudan, perhaps parts of South Sudan. Put, modern Libya, possibly extending west beyond Libya and the north of Africa nations. Within modern Turkey, Goma, located in modern Turkey. Beth Togarmah, located in modern Turkey. Right, so basically, yeah, they're coming together, man. And you can find out this. There's more information about Dedan and whatnot. Right, maybe you can read all this yourself. But I'm going to finish it there. You know, there's a lot of information. Some of it you got to take the bones out of. But you can read it for yourself if you want. But yeah, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to the Akim pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Kwam Yasharallah.
Not